Hi, everybody. Michelle D'Ambra here with Josephine Zanetti again. We're going to do another segment podcast on nutrition. And first, I want to get out of the way that we are certified in nutrition. We have multiple certifications in nutrition. We also are skilled in hair mineral analysis, but we are not doctors or licensed professionals. So if you have a major, problem, that you should go seek out a licensed professional. We're just speaking on what we've learned, both professionally and personally. All right, so here's Josephine.
Hi, how are you?
Here we are again. Josephine's in cold weather and I'm in hot weather. So you can
That's right.
that with our clothes.
It's not letting up over here, but it's okay. I'm getting used to kind of like this type of weather for now. So yes, so today, what are we going to be talking about? We said about the food.
Yeah, we're going to talk about cravings.
Yes.
It's amazing that, we have these cravings and we don't realize that those cravings are an indication that we may have, a deficiency or mineral imbalance that are leading to those cravings.
That's right.
So one of the things, my favorite, and something that I've always struggled with is chocolate. I joke around when I'm working, I also do accounting, that when I go run to chocolate, it's like drinking on the job for me because it's the way that I'm handling stress as I'm running to the chocolate. Well, why am I doing that? Because we lose magnesium when we're stressed. And magnesium, magnesium's in chocolate. So people who have an addiction or cravings to chocolate most likely need more magnesium.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because the more nutritionally depleted than that we are, and most of us are, because of the soil, right, Michelle?
Yep.
There's we get really we're gonna be seeking out food that the body needs. The body, it could be, like you said, the magnesium. Some people, and even the coffee, it's the same thing where people drink a lot of coffee. And because a lot of people, if it's coffee, they put the cream in there. Again, a lot of the people, like I think most of us, it's about the magnesium, that we are depleted in magnesium. Even on a hair mineral analysis, sometimes it will show it's high, but it's biounavailable.
Yeah, right? You're losing it out of the hair. So if it's being eliminated, it's coming out, from where we need it out of the body. So you're urinating it, it's coming out of the hair. And so we need to get that back. The two main things that are causing problems with people are magnesium and zinc problems. And it's not just the loss of it, but there's antagonistic, with zinc, it's copper. With magnesium, it's calcium. So we see this on a hair test where, like, say, for instance, I'll use me as an example. I've had what we call hill patterns. And the hill pattern is when you're on a hair test, when you have higher magnesium to calcium, which will show as a low ratio. Calcium should be higher than magnesium in relationship. So for me, I'm losing because I'm always working, doing things. I think I have a tendency naturally to lose more magnesium due to my trauma upbringing. So I need more magnesium. So when I start looking around for chocolate, I know that I'm losing too much magnesium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what happens, right? Because it's like it goes up and down. It's like those people who are in 4 lows, who have a very low magnesium, and they have the calcium that's low. Then you got the sodium and the potassium. Now, these people, a lot of them don't even know they crave any food, actually. Okay, so I could speak for myself because they're so high in copper. There's so much copper biounavailable. Okay, that the cravings don't easily happen. They start happening when you start, like you said, the beginning, exactly. And they do happen also, like if you're in your calcium is higher than a certain amount. If it's higher than 70, your magnesium is higher than 10, that type of thing, because it's biounavailable again. And here you are craving for some certain food. And I just had a client the other day who asked me, because she goes through anxieties a lot, and it's not, but I just found out through the consultation that she doesn't eat a whole lot of protein during the day, animal protein, you see, and people forget. And even if they're not vegetarian, you know, eating 2 proteins daily, it's like, it's not always easy for some people. Okay, so I mean, the chicken, and then you got the sardines. If it's not the sardines, then it'll be beef or lamb or something like that. I mean, there's so much, but I mean, the cravings really also come from the fact that our diet is, at that point, it's a signal to the body that we are not only depleted, but we're not eating the right type of food as well. Like, we're not eating what we're supposed to eat because we're so depleted, and of course we'll have the craving. It's like hypoglycemia. You know, hypoglycemia is a well-known fact that most people who are alcoholics are hypoglycemic.
And they probably have a too high to calcium to magnesium ratio.
Exactly.
So these people will be more prone to addiction, sugar problems, depression. You know, I see this on hair tests too, and these people struggle more with those types of things. For sure.
That's right. Exactly. It's not easy, right? But I mean, once you start balancing it out, I noticed, for myself, I've been doing this for a long time now, but if I eat my protein, it's not bad. You know, I feel like I don't have too much cravings. But, you know, people who work, they don't have time. You know, it's not always easy to get it together.
It's not.
Food. It really
and
isn't.
That's the biggest problem. So, you know, here we have the food is not what it used to be. The soil, you know, the handling, just, it's not good quality. It's not very nutritious. Then we have people are just stressed out. I don't know anybody that I could say is not dealing with some kind of stress. I mean, everybody is. They got sleep problems, they're working too much, you know. So you're being depleted of minerals constantly. So if you're being depleted of minerals and you're not consuming minerals, I mean, how eventually that's going to cause a whole lot of problems. And because the body is extremely intelligent and it wants to survive, it can survive a very long time depleted, but it's going to pull things around. It's going to replace certain minerals with things that are toxic. You know, like lead, you know, there's different kinds of toxic metals that mimic minerals in the body. So they'll start to accumulate when we are deficient in the minerals. And eventually, you know, people are like, oh, they just died out of nowhere. No, they didn't. They've been dying for decades.
Right.
People have been dying for decades. Right. My dear friend lost her father the other day, and he, you know, went in for heart surgery, and his valve was completely calcified. And that's because as we get older and we lose our adrenal strength, on the hair test, sodium and potassium, when we're born, usually are higher than calcium, magnesium, because we have a lot of adrenal and thyroid. Eventually, it shifts and we go into slow oxidation.
Right.
Calcium and magnesium, as the sodium, potassium, we lose that because we're stressed out, we're urinating it out, we're not getting proper nutrition, and the unavailable calcium, magnesium raise, then it can't be held in solution anymore. Right. So then it starts to deposit throughout the body. And so you've got, I mean, this is the heart problem. It's not cholesterol, it's calcification. Yes,
exactly. And you know that many people have that problem.
More and more. It's stress. You know, if you can't hold those 4 macro minerals, your electrolytes are the most important thing in your body. That's and right. If they are not balanced properly, most of the health problems, I feel very confident, all of them are related to those 4 electrolytes.
Absolutely, me too. I mean, we got the iron, we have copper, we have manganese also, that's a problem. But the iron, most of the time, even when it's low, it's because it's too toxic. Yeah. So, I mean, we got so much toxic in the body that it takes years, you know, to eliminate. So people get discouraged, but it's a slow process, I would say, compared to, let's say, doing chelated therapy, but it's worth it because in the long run, you feel it. You feel much better.
Right.
You feel the brain feels better.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there is something to be said about the cravings eventually do go away. Now, those clients that we have that I've had, let's say for 6, 7, 8 years, and sometimes their cravings come back, they do admit that they kind of stopped the eating properly.
It could be they have more stress in their life. That's what's
right.
happened to me.
That's
Is, just I've had some life events the past few years, and trying to navigate through them and learning, all the self-care that I've learned. You're going to throw yourself off balance, or when I'm detoxing and I'm using the sauna, I can't sleep, that's going to cause stress. So, but when you learn about this and you're getting hair tests periodically, you can catch it and adjust your program.
I just wonder why, like in the West, especially here in America, we're so much more stressed, let's say, than people living in places like Italy. They live with their family members. You would think for us, we would go nuts, okay? Right. All right, having everybody in the same house, a grandmother, grandfather, and everybody else. Somehow, some way they live. It's the place. Italy are people that live the longest in the world, because I kind of like that. I did the research during
even Okinawa.
They say yes, because don't forget the kind of food we eat, the Italians. You would wonder, but they have no stress. They're not stressed financially, although it's very expensive in that country. They have a support system that North America we no longer have, as we did before with families, and they may not make a lot of babies either in Italy because it's so expensive. So they probably have 1 or 2 kids at the most, per whoever gets married there. But I just find that stress is like the #1 killer for all of us. I think these people, they eat the pasta every day. I mean, they have a little bit of wine and they live to be 100 years old, seriously.
Because they're not stressed.
That's right.
It's very depleting. I mean, I've seen it on my clients' hair test. I see it on my hair test when I go back and look at them, the times that I was going through stress, like moving or whatever, I can see that on my hair pattern. So, if you're not educated and you don't know this about minerals and nutrition, and you're not getting a hair test, then you can fix so many problems by getting that done. Getting the proper nutrition instead of waiting. I personally don't want to take pharmaceutical medications. I don't like the hospital. I don't like Western care. I think there's a place for it. I don't want to knock it. There's definitely a place for it. It's important. But I do believe that you do have control over most of the things like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. That's all in our control.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like people, we know that my dad ended up in his 70s having a triple bypass. Had I known, but I don't think he would have listened, even though I would have known. He would have not listened.
And then the other thing is, in the way that I coach, and I believe Josephine does too, is that, it's your life.
Yeah.
You're going to go through your life the way that you go through your life. And all the things that have I don't regret the things that have happened in my life. I could have lived a little healthier and made better choices, but it all led me to where I am today. So you should only embark on something if that is something that is resonating with you, that you want to do. If not, don't feel bad that you're not completely there yet, because again, the stress, the low self-worth, shame, things like that are going to cause more health problems.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing the right thing. You can do all the right things, but if you're not behind it, and your attitude and your emotions and how you feel about yourself and your life are going to be much worse than the things that you're doing to try and take care of yourself.
That's right. And, we all have to live and learn. Right. So no matter what you tell somebody, we do seek what we want, whether it's good, whether it's bad. You know, it's like walking on the streets and you see the homeless people on the street and you see them, some of them have packs of cigarettes, some of them have a lot of food for their pets and they're sitting there. And I realized at one point, I said, it's amazing how we all are as human beings. We all have our priorities different. Okay, so here they got money, let's say, to feed their pets, but they have no money to feed themselves, or they'll have money to buy a pack of cigarettes, which is very expensive nowadays,
right,
because their priority is not about self-care. Okay,
exactly.
But they find the money. Okay, so that's what I found interesting for me. It's like, so when people say I have no money, no, we have money for certain things, but it's only because we have priorities that are different.
Exactly.
That's really something that we I think when I look back, you know, priorities is the number one. But I mean, you know, like I said, we live and learn.
Well, you know, I've always said too, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you have a strong will, desire to make changes in your life, it's all good. Everything that you need is just going to come to you. I've seen this in my life. You know, I didn't know that it was called, like, you know, law of attraction. I just was kind of doing this stuff for years. And then somebody talked to me about The Secret when the movie came out. I'm like, oh, I do that. But I also came to the realization that my negative thoughts and looping about the past was also attracting certain my life. And that's when I started to shift and realize the power in you know, my thoughts, and that they, you know, things did come true that I would think about that were positive, and so did the negative.
And then sometimes the negative is not such a negative, right? We need to live those negativity in order to go through it, because they're going to repeat itself no matter how much we try to avoid it, right?
Right, like the dark night of the soul.
That's right. I have a friend right now who's living in Central America, and you know, everything is working out like hunky-dory, he's getting everything he needs, but then he's got this other stuff where he's got a friend who's got a problem with his girlfriend, and then and it's getting ugly. And so it's like it's going to be interesting on how he's going to manage to separate himself from that friend in order not to get himself in trouble, or will he stay there while he's gaining all that stuff for himself? He got himself a horse, he got himself a cow. I mean, amazing what he's done so far for himself. Okay, so in order not to jeopardize what he's got, okay, so because we have the tendency, when we don't resolve our past and our traumas, to relive those traumas. Those traumas, they keep repeating itself, maybe not right away, but I mean, a relationship, like for myself, a relationship could be the guy that comes and work on my house. And I didn't pick the right guy to work on my house. That would be a relationship. Okay, that same thing. It's like, okay, so what do I need here to live? How am I going to handle it this time, or whatever? Okay, because we are put in situations sometimes that are very, very difficult, and it's how we react to these situations.
It's learning. You know, I realized in each of my relationships, although they weren't as bad as the previous one, which showed my growth, that there was still a lot of work for me to do ending my last relationship. So, you know, it's just a process.
It's a process, really. You know, we're all work in progress.
Right.
You know, I mean, you do this till, my mom says this, she's 85, you know, and here she is now. It's a new lifestyle for her, because having us around, or me around, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's a big switch. Not having her her daughters around for X amount of years and living the life of, even on the phone, it's one thing, but physically it's another.
Oh, I know.
So it really is different. So I mean, even for me, you know, but it's like I find it that it's inspiring and encouraging to know that we're all work in progress, that none of us, I mean, it never ends. We're never going to achieve this thing.
No, perfection. No,
it doesn't exist, you know.
No, it doesn't.
We try, I mean, I think what we need to work on is to be better human beings. That's definitely why we go through these things, in order for us to have more mercy on other people, you know, feel more for other people who go through rough times and stuff. So, I mean, these are all the stress. I think these are the stress that we need to deal with, that they are not always easy. But like you said, I mean, we started with the craving, but we got, you know, we have an appetite. It's an appetite that's not been crunched, because we do have an appetite. It's called passion. And passion, when it's oppressed, when it's okay to certain extent, we need to, there's certain passion that we have to just deal with in a way that it doesn't affect us physically and emotionally, really. You know, because the true passion that we should only have, and if we could do that, it would be to have the passion for God. And if we would have only a passion for God, I don't think any of us would have the problems that we have. But we have more and more problems in this world, because we all of us have and we're all guilty of that. We left and we thought that things could work better. But I think now, with everything going to happen soon, and it's happening in the last 2 years, I think we're going to see things, Michelle, that is going to bring us much closer to ourselves. And I think everything going on right now in the world is all very good, although we probably not, we're not going to be happy about it.
No,
because we've been spoiled, you know.
Well, you know, anytime we go through something difficult, at the end of it, you know, on the other side, it's great. You know, we can't see it when we're going through it. It's funny, we just kind of digressed into, you know, different things.
But I'm thinking about that craving, you know. So yeah, our magnesium comes down, but also, you know, with the stress and stuff, when we go a little deeper into it, we got to ask ourselves, what is it that we're really craving? Sometimes it's not always the food that we're craving. We're really craving love. So we grab on to the chocolate, or we're going to grab on to the popsicle, or whatever is going to be there in front of you. But really what we're craving is love. We need hugs. We're not getting enough hugs.
I know, especially now we can't touch each other because
exactly,
viruses, you know.
It's like you and I now, we're talking here, but we're not face to face, right? I mean, we are, but we're not, it's electronically.
Right.
So this is why people in Italy live longer, because they have that human contact constantly. These are people that could never live alone, you know. Those are the kind of like, you know, it'd be too hard for them to live in North America, and the way people are living. And now we've become even more like this, because, you know, they kind of like did instill some fear onto people. But interestingly enough, when we get into deeper issues, we realize that the cravings that we have is, sure, get the magnesium settled. There's no question about that, because if you don't get that squared away, your digestive system is not going to work well, like you said. But at the same time, while that's going on, it's good to go deeper and find out why you're craving.
Yes. So and that ultimately, you know, I believe is the underlying issue, is that we just our soul is, you know, our spiritual side is bankrupt, and we've lost, you know, who we are. We come into this world full of love, and then
that's right,
along the way, you know, between traumas and all these things, we just lose ourselves, and then we start living our life for other people and what we think we should do. You know, I did that for many years. And, you know, all of that will manifest in different ways, you know, especially when we look at addiction and unhealthy relationships, toxic relationships. And seeing that, you know, this whole thing is being broadcasted with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And, you know, to me, it's representing right now the collective and the unhealthy relationships due to childhood trauma that are unresolved. That's really what it's all about. And I think in one way it's good that it's being publicized, because it's really helping people maybe see things about their relationship they need to work on. You know, we're so busy pointing to the other person in the relationship on how they need to change and be better. But honestly, you're only responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
If we all spent as much energy working on ourselves and our own, you know, traumas and things like that, we don't have time to be looking at anybody else because there's enough there to work on.
Oh my God, that's right. I think the people who look at others, it's like when we do that, it's because we don't have the courage. It takes work, you know, to work on yourself.
Oh, I know.
It's much easier to point the finger than start doing the work on yourself.
I know.
You know what I mean? So
well, the thing is, people are so, you know, we are trying to push away the dark side of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, the ego, the ego, you don't want to like kill the ego. The ego is there to protect you. So what we want to do, and this is called shadow work, is to really look at the shadow part of ourselves. And I've been doing that recently. It's been extremely eye-opening and freeing to see that, you know, there were parts of myself that I've been projecting or avoiding. And I see it in other people. And so I had to look back at like, why do I get like this? And why does it happen in relationships? And what do I need to heal? And what do I need to embrace about myself? Because I tend to have these, you know, responses that are due to survival.
Right.
And, you know, ultimately not being abandoned and wanting to be loved. So we come into these relationships with all of that stuff and we project and then mirror back. So here you're complaining about your spouse or your significant other about probably the same things that you fear about yourself, you know, and that's what I've seen in my experience.
Absolutely.
Myself and
I agree.
People.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we can sit down and really just look at like, why do I pick these people? You know, it's usually a parent, an unhealed relationship with a parent. So we'll pick somebody like that parent that we haven't healed because that's going to be your class where you're going to learn. But then, you know, we rather just blame the other person and walk away from the relationship and not work on it.
Yeah, this is a bit like wars, right? That's how wars begin. They don't negotiate. There's no talking, no negotiation, and of course, it's self-serving on a geopolitical aspect. It's much more self-serving than it is on a personal level, like us when we're in a relationship.
Right.
But nonetheless, that's how wars begin at home, right? And then it explodes. But I think if we would start from the very beginning with ourselves, you know, it's easier said than done, right? But those are the people we gotta pick. Those are the ones who we should be able to pick.
Exactly.
Right?
You want to, you know, if you are doing the work, you want to be in a relationship with somebody else who's doing the work.
Right.
So if you're picking somebody who doesn't think that they have any problems and that they need to change, then that's going to be a big problem. And that's what I found in the relationship. Is so what happens is, and Dr. Jordan Peterson, you know, says this, you should fight in a marriage, but you should fight clean.
Right.
Not dirty, you know, name calling and degrading somebody. And you should sit down and weekly meet with each other and check in, you know, and you know, what's bothering you so that you can meet in the middle. And I haven't been able to find a relationship like that. I want to do that, but I haven't found a relationship with somebody. So I believe there's more work that I personally need to do.
I think so.
The right person. So I'm not going to put the blame on that person. That it's just, I have more work to do, or I wouldn't be getting involved with people who are not available emotionally. So what part of me is not available emotionally that I've been attracting these emotionally available people? And that's what the thing is, you know, when you leave a relationship blaming the other person, I got news for you. You're going to get another one with a different name and a different face.
That's right. Exactly. And it may just get worse because until we don't get it, sometimes for some people, it costs their lives.
Yeah.
Right. It costs their lives. So, I mean, whatever. So, I mean, we can finish this off by saying, yes, a hair mineral analysis, actually, it shows all of that on the hair mineral analysis.
It does.
You can even see traumas of people on the hair
and
mineral
you can
analysis.
see if people are stuck in a relationship with
That's
the
right.
bowl pattern. So we can see that if somebody's in a bowl pattern, they're probably in some kind of job relationship or something that they feel stuck. You
That's
see, the hair does not lie.
Exactly.
You see it in the hair.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. The same as when you do your bookkeeping.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. And it really, we are made of minerals, and, God created us this way. And I think it's the best thing because it's so much better than a blood test, much better than a blood test because it's more accurate. But I mean, so I think
so these cravings, I mean, they all boil down to, like salt. I was craving salt. Well, I had low sodium to potassium ratio. So my body was starving for salt. But all of these things really lead to the mineral imbalances and the underlying, which is, have you found your purpose in life? Have you resolved your traumas? Are you living a life fulfilling, loving yourself and loving other people? That's going to disrupt the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When you start thinking about that, you get to find out how lonely you are and really acknowledge these feelings. I think this is when all of a sudden you start getting even better. It's not easy. It's easier said than done for some people. Oops. Yeah. But for other people, it's, I mean, sooner or later, we have to look at ourselves that we like it or not, right? Sooner or later, we'll have to answer to our creator when it's time. So why not do it now?
Right.
That's the way I feel. Might as well do it now and then get it over with. You know?
Yeah, so. I know. Well, I enjoy these talks with you, Josephine. And, I hope that other people who are coming on and watching these videos, that you enjoy these discussions. They're really discussions. I mean, we can go into real technical stuff. We kind of put it out there, what things can be related to, but we really, truly believe the underlying issue is being, spiritually bankrupt, not loving ourselves, not having connection with some kind of source, higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to, that's your business. But if you don't have that and you feel disconnecting, you're not working on your traumas, it will disrupt your digestive system, your sleep, your hormones, your mineral balances, your diet. It's all connected.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, so hopefully don't forget to subscribe to Michelle's video. Thumbs up again for Michelle and for me. And, come back next week. We'll have another chit chat again about another subject. And I'm sure it'll be another interesting one.
Right.
And,
and if you have any ideas, just drop them in the comments section. We're very happy to listen to whatever you have to say and something you'd be interested in. We can talk more about nutrition, hair mineral analysis, whatever it is, we're open to it.
That's right. All right. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Josephine.
Bye-bye.
Bye.